Hello and welcome to an awesome car on an awesome track. Now I've hired the manager and the agent for this race to double things up, and let's get rolling. This is in No Limits, which is in the Legend category, so you don't have to be fully upgraded. I'd recommend it. We'll get into costs and all that later. Action starting. Now, what's the car counter about there? Well, the standard rule is 42 cars until you reach the perpetual point. So we're just going to see if that's true here as well. It should be true everywhere. This is, it's interesting when you've got a series with multiple cars. So we've got the Ferrari FXXK Evo. That's what you see me passing there. I've done this race before in that car, and at that time, I couldn't do it in the Senna GTR, which kind of surprises me because I actually find this pretty easy now. The Ferrari is interesting because it almost hits its maximum speed here. Like it's like 1 kilometer an hour short when you're running it at Le Mans, which is very rare for cars to almost hit their top speed on the flats. And now we're going to see the McLaren P1 GTRs. That's an awesome car. That's actually the car that I was testing at Le Mans recently. Very difficult car to run here because it might just lack some of the speed. This Senna is just like the Senna GTR. My goodness, what an amazing car. I just forgot how awesome it is. It is so nicely balanced. Like, it doesn't speed up as fast as the P1 GTR, but it's still not bad at all, don't get me wrong. But then you get extra grip and you get extra top speed. And this thing sticks more than the grip says. Like 1.94 is the grip compared to, I think it was 1.81 for the P1 GTR. But man, it feels like it's got way more stick than that. So I think this is one of these cars that gives you more downforce with more speed. So, and the game doesn't account for that in the PR rating. Like, to a point it does, but like the VW IDR, for instance, that car is so stinking amazing. The faster you go, the stickier it gets, and it's just, man, that's why that car is one of the fastest cars in the game. Even though its top speed is low, it can take corners so shockingly fast. Okay, 2-for-1 special! That's kind of funny. I couldn't do the car counter individually because it just happened so fast. So here we are, we're getting to the Sennas, and you can see the cars are getting progressively faster because, of course, I'm getting on. This is a lot of cars to pass in the first lap. Even with all these cuts, that's a lot of cars to pass. That's very unusual. So only 10 more cars to the perpetual point, but now they're going to get pretty spread apart. And the downside of being super aggressive in lap 1 is you get very few cars in lap 2 that could make this quite difficult. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Now, if I get my trajectory right, I can stay full throttle. If there's no one in the way, no one in the way. And so here's what I like about this car. It just keeps speeding up at a nice rate. The P1 GTR has faster acceleration, but then it seems to just start to stall out. Like, posted top speed for that was 396. Fastest I've ever gone is 390 in that car after many laps at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This car just keeps on go. Whoa, is that ever close to the wall? Check that out. I would not recommend getting any closer than that. Anyhow, I love this car. It's interesting how I'm catching up to other Senna GTRs right now, but you just watch. Once I get further up past the 42nd car, yeah, they start driving away on me. So you may not know this if you haven't seen my other videos. Once you get past the perpetual point, every single car is faster than a fully upgraded car. So increased acceleration and increased top speed. Now, they may or may not get better brakes and better grip. One fellow was commenting a while ago that perhaps the reason why they take the corner so bad is because they have to brake more because of more speed. That could be. I have a feeling what they do is they give all of the statistics about a 5% boost, maybe even 10%. I don't think they just do acceleration and top speed. Maybe they do, but bots are notoriously bad at corners. It's just the way it is. The AI bots are driving with assists, of course. Now, we can't access the assists that they use. For instance, if you use even assists low, it's horrible. Like assists low, it's braking way too late. So brake assist high is braking way too early and way too long. So obviously they could give us better assist settings, but they want us to drive without assist. That's what they keep encouraging us to do. And frankly, I agree, because I'm better than the bots. Now, we're getting pretty close here to the 40-second bot, and I'm getting pretty low on time. Like, that's getting worrisome. We're about to hit to the red here, but there's another bot there, and they're going to substantially brake for the chicane. Now, of course, I'm going to fly through here, but even if I was braking, I don't have to brake as much as they do. Taking these cuts is absolutely necessary. Okay, I'll get back to that, cuts. Is that all I needed? Is this next car the beginning at the perpetual point, the 43rd car? Should be, but we can't really see. There it is. There it is. Okay, so this is the first lap of reaching the perpetual point. The cars there's quite a lot of them, but they're still kind of spread out, you know what I'm saying? Now here, I don't want to crash. Crashing gives you damage. Now back to what I was saying before there about cuts. To do this type of racing, which is endless endurance racing, you have to take cuts. Just the way it goes. I'll get more into it later, but endless endurance, you've got to take cuts so you can pass those 42 cars as fast as possible. If it was possible to do this without taking cuts, you would already know that. You would have reached there. But as you know, the cars get further and further apart, and you just run out of cars. And then the race is over. Now, the next lap, you're going to see the bots get even closer. But let's get into, like, what does this car cost? What are the upgrade costs? Let's get into all of that stuff. We'll even talk about possible ways you can earn this car. Woo, that was a little bit dicey. All right, purchase price of this particular car is 1,000 gold. That's the full purchase price. The fully upgraded, just over 4.1 million R dollars, 1,495 gold. And this car was first offered in Pinnacle of Performance, and that is actually run twice. And there's even been a championship series where you know, there's 15 different tiers, you do 45 races, and you get the car just for doing the upgrades. So those could happen again in the future. That's possible. And then, of course, showcase discount would be it would be 800 gold. You get 200 off. So, which you would get that offered here in the No Limits series. And there's other series that this car appears in. Of course, it's got an exclusive series. But you know what? That doesn't necessarily have any better endurance, endless endurance races. But you know, there's just something special about Le Mans. Running these massive speeds in such a legendary track. Is that? No, that's third place. Oh, second place. Okay, I got a while to go yet before I reach first place. You have to get first place to get maximum payout. A lot of people forget about that. Sometimes people will say to me, well, what did you do to the game? You're getting paid more than I got. Well, did you finish first? It's surprising. Sometimes people would realize, oh, no, I didn't. Right. So if you get less pay for finishing third than you do for second, and second versus first, etc., etc., etc. Okay, we've warped ahead because a lot of that was repetitive. So from here on, we're going to go right to the 100-kilometer mark. Now check out how close the cars are now. Why has this happened? Because I was running fast back-to-back laps. They get really close like this, which does affect how I would drive. Like right now, I got to be careful right here. Woo, that was a little bit close. You got to be careful. Like I'm going to get right on this guy's tail here, so I'm probably going to have to brake early. Yeah, I'm going to have to brake earlier, or I could just brake late and try to pass him. Boy, that gets risky. By the way, pay very careful attention to the first chicane. Notice how none of this is off track. Look at that. None of that's off track. If it was, my distance counter would have turned red. So most of what I'm doing actually isn't off track at Le Mans. It looks like it is, but you could do that exact same thing in a time trial. Okay, so if I wasn't going to do endless endurance racing, then I would use what I coined the phrase clock management technique. So clock management means making maximum use of your clock. Oh boy, I went off track there, didn't I? So you get 68 seconds when you cross the start-finish line at Le Mans, which means you don't want to have your timer any fuller than 22 seconds because you'll be wasting some. How do you manage that? Well, if there's cars in front of you, you don't pass anymore as you near the start-finish line to make sure you're not wasting those bots, because in clock management technique, you know you're going to run out. By the way, got to get this awesome shot. Look at that. I love that. So in clock management, you know you're going to run out of cars eventually. That's why you've got to manage it. That's what I do at tracks where I can't do this, if I just want to set a nice record for distance. But this is all about fame per minute. Well, how many earnings can I get? What's my earnings? Now, the king of endurance races is the McLaren MP4X at this exact track. You can earn over 1,900 fame per minute. That's without hiring the agent or the manager, okay? So you hire the agent and you do that on 100% bonus fame day, well, you're getting close to 8,000 fame per minute. I mean, that's mind-blowing. So, yeah, but you know what? This is a really awesome car here. I really enjoy this car. It feels so good, just like a good race car should. And look at this group of Sennas. Like, what's going on here? I'm actually going to slow down because I don't want to get tangled up and get wrecked in the chicane here. That's the last thing you want is to get damaged. And this race is easy enough that I'm going to dodge in between here a bit. There we go, past some there. This car is good enough that even if I got damaged, I'd be able to keep going if I wanted to, but it's going to lower my fame per minute. So anyhow, when I reach the 100-kilometer mark, I'm going to stop the race right there. So what I'll do is I'll do a freeze frame, and then I'll hit the brakes and I'll go back and I'll end at that exact point. But we'll just end the race there just so I don't waste your time. I'm trying to make this enjoyable for you. And then we'll get the exact fame per minute. So the race time that I'll show you will be based on green light to 100 kilometers. And that's what I'm going with. So that'll be kind of interesting to know. That's how I always do the math as far as, what's profitable. Now you can brake. I'm going with the second braking distance marker here for my braking point. This car is so stinking amazing. I just love this thing. It's just one of my favorite cars now. After driving the P1 GTR for quite a while, this thing, it's actually got worse brakes than the P1 GTR, but I'm using the same braking points because the grip is so much better in this thing that it just powers out of the corners. And even though I'm hitting the corners faster, so it's quite amazing. Oops. Oh, well, good thing I almost hit 100 kilometers. That's a smashed windshield. That's a definite loss in performance. So I just lost top speed, acceleration, grips, and brake. But grip and brakes, but here we are. Freeze frame. Here are the final numbers. You can see I'm doing this on 170% bonus R day, and I hired the manager for a massive amount of R dollars. Actual race time, 20 minutes and 29 seconds. So we can figure out I was earning 1,720 fame per minute with the agent hired. That would mean 860 per minute without, 3,440 per minute with on 100% bonus fame day. Wow. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.